Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Marina. I am a certified lash tech based in Toronto, Canada, and I like making lash extension videos. And this week, we are going to be doing a mega volume strip lash look. But before I get into my videos, I always just kind of put a disclaimer out there. Everything I am sharing are just techniques and methods that work for me. In no way, shape, or form am I saying this is the only way to do lash extensions, so I encourage everyone to continue learning. However, getting into the set today, we are going to be doing, like I said, a mega volume strip lash look in a doll eye style. And so usually what I do is I go ahead and map out where I want the spikes beforehand, usually. However, I've been trying to do a different method, kind of change things up just to see if it works, and it's been working for me. I did a couple of sets where I did strip lash look in this way, and it's kind of worked for me. I kind of find that I get a cleaner result. But basically, instead of mapping out the spikes before and then going ahead with the base and adding the fans, I started to actually just gradually add in the spikes as I continue the set. So, like I've mentioned in prior videos, I lash through the inner corner, outer corner, and I basically rotate through the eyes and go one by one as I kind of go through the set. And so I wanted to do a way that I can continue that method, but also see if like the spikes come out the way that I wanted it to. Now, my issue usually is when I use spikes to map it out beforehand, sometimes I don't really get the spikes where I want it to. I think one thing I might change about doing it this method is mapping it out a little bit better with the pen. As you can see, I tried to map it out by drawing on the under eye pads with a ballpoint pen beforehand, and usually that does help me out. However, I did get a little lost with the mapping, probably a little bit way through my set. It was quite disappointing because I was on point and then I kind of lost my way. So at the very end, you will notice that the strip lash look, it did turn out the way I wanted it to, but I wish it was a little bit more organized. However, I love how it turned out and my client loved it as well. She was going for more of like a wispy set anyway, rather than a more organized strip lash look, so it worked out. But I did do a few sets before where the strip lashes, the spikes kind of really emulated that falsy look before, and I really liked how that turned out when using the method of going inner corner, outer corner. Another little tip that I have kind of noticed that helps me and that I want to share with you guys is rather than just applying one spike on the top layer of the lashes and then kind of using fans to surround it, basically what I've been starting to do is using thinner spikes but kind of grouping them together into one large spike. So I'll use a bunch of thinner spikes, and then with the surrounding lashes I'll add like a bunch of other spikes, and it kind of creates one dense spike. This way you get more of a stability and like a structure for that spike, so it stands upright rather than leaning from side to side. Now, one of the mistakes that I made within this set is that I added a fan underneath for one of the spikes, and it kind of threw off the structure of the spike on, I believe, looking like when you look at the screen, it's the right eye, and the spikes aren't as, there's one section where the spike isn't as dense, and I wish it was just a little bit darker and more compact. I don't mind how it looks, honestly. It adds really nice texture, but in the future when I'm looking back, that's something I would change. And instead of adding that fan underneath, I thought that, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can add a fan underneath to work as a shelf. It honestly threw the spikes off. It separated the neighboring spike from the other group of spikes, if that makes sense, and it kind of gave a messy look. And so to compromise, I tried to use directional placement to lean that one spike into that grouping, but it just didn't look the same because there's still a gap near the base of those spikes. So I would honestly just stick to like keeping as many spikes together as possible, and keeping them very close and tight so that you won't get that gaping kind of weird space look, because at the end of the day, you want these spikes to look very prominent and really spiky and just emulate that strip lash look. Now this is mega volume, so I did try to make the fans as wide as possible, but still keeping them at a healthy density so that it won't ruin the natural lash. I really honestly, I love how this set turned out at the very end. It's very wispy, very textured, but still looks like kind of like strip lash look. The strip lash look that I like in terms of falsies. When I wear falsies, they kind of look like what I created here, so I was really proud of it. You know, obviously with every set, sometimes you love it and sometimes you find things that you would change, and it's all about kind of going back and revisiting your sets and seeing what you could do differently next time. So like all of you guys, I always say I'm still learning, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. Something else when working with mega volume and strip lash look, I would recommend getting a glue that's going to dry fast enough so that when you attach it to the natural lash, that directional placement is, you know, kind of on point. Sometimes I find that if the glue is drying a little bit too slow, the spike tends to kind of fall to one side because it's not fully cured yet. So then you get a crooked spike and it throws off the entire look. So getting a glue that will dry at the pace that you need it to will allow you to kind of position the spike where you want it, and the look comes out a lot cleaner. I was having some issues with stickies, so I used my Sylvia lash serum, which is an accelerator. I got mine off of Amazon. There's also a bunch of other accelerators you can try as well. It is linked in my description box below. But sometimes when I have issues with humidity, I go ahead and use the Sylvia Lash Serum Accelerator because it honestly allows me to work faster, but also still getting that wraparound and that bond that I'm looking for when I am lashing. So I think the ultimate takeaway from here is to really focus on directional placement and groupings of the spikes to get a desired look. Now again, it depends what you're going for. You know, this set was a little bit more on the wispy, spiky look, but if someone's looking for more of an organized look, I would say to kind of map it out on the under eye pads to get a cleaner set. But I kind of knew going into this that she wasn't very particular about what she wanted, and she told me she wanted wispy and textured. So even though I kind of went off the mapping, the texture was actually really nice at the end anyway, and I got every single lash at the end of the day, and that's all that matters to me. So she left very satisfied and happy, and it was still wispy and spiky. This set is also good if you want to advertise it in a way to kind of go away from that dense look, but people still want the mega volume. It's a great transitioning because I know the really dense mega volume look is starting to get less popular these days, but you could still get the ultimate retention with mega volume and the same amount of darkness in the lash line if you go with this style. But then adding the spikes just add a little bit of texture, creating a more wispy and not necessarily natural, but a little bit more light and a little bit more feathery than a dense mega volume look that is very common before. I think with trends that are constantly changing, it's really important to keep up to date. So I always try to have a selling point when I'm trying to convince someone to upgrade their sets. So yeah, this is a great way to still get that mega volume charge. You know, mega volume obviously is the most expensive, so you want to have that selling point. And you could always let your clients know that mega volume doesn't always have to be so intense and so dark. I know that, you know, that really, really dense look can be kind of off-putting to some people. So this is a great thing, like a great aspect of this type of set to keep as your selling point, and that way you can drag in customers that are wanting that glam but maybe wanting to try something a little bit more fluffier and more dense than a natural volume look. So I hope that this kind of helped. I'm trying to think of any other tips I can share with you guys. Oh, Something else that I do find kind of helps if you're having trouble with some glue drying is having a nano mister. Now I use a bonder, which usually helps with the curing process, but a nano mister always is a handy dandy thing to just have on the side if you need a little bit of more moisture around around the eyes and around the natural lashes. Something I found is that every so often, if I find that my glue is drying a little too slow, when I use the nano mister, I believe that the natural lashes of my clients kind of grasp onto the moisture that's falling from the nano mister, so that when I go ahead and apply my lash extensions, the lash extensions actually kind of connect and bond really well to the natural lash. So that's something that I like to do and incorporate into my sets. But again, if you have a bonder, that works just as well. Usually bonders are used to kind of take place for the nano mister if you don't want to use a nano mister. Especially with something like a mega volume set, the fans can be quite difficult to work around, especially if you're working with really wide fans. So you have to make sure that the glue is drying before you move on, so that you won't get any stickies. And unfortunately, when you get stickies, you can hurt your client by trying to pull them apart. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, thanks so much guys for watching, and I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, this is in doll eyes, so this means that 16 millimeters is the longest in the middle, and I go 11 in the inner corner, and I go 11 double D on the outer corner, so that I can create a little bit of a flick at the end, so that when there's fallout, it doesn't droop down the eye. Thank you so much guys for watching and tuning in. I post every Sunday around 6:15. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!
Somehow you find a way inside my head. I think back on all the stupid things I said, but you have this effect on me, and if we're being honest here, there's no need to pretend. We could be so much more than friends. Just you and me is what it should be. You're giving me butterflies. My heart skips a beat when you're with me. Suddenly I'm paralyzed. I just get this crazy feeling looking into your eyes. Just you and me is what it should be. You're feeling these butterflies. Take me back to the night that we first met. Your eyes on mine, I bite my lip. I knew that this was it. Take me back to the night that we first met. Your eyes on mine, I bite my lip. I knew that this was it. This was it. Oh baby, just you and me is what it should be. You're giving